Good morning, fellow billionaires. This is Silver 5150 with your morning update for Wednesday, July 15th, 2020. All right, guys, it is July 15th, and for those of you that took advantage of the tax deadline extension in April, today is the day. You need to get those taxes out, pay whatever you owe, make sure that the letter that you send in to whatever your franchise tax board or tax group is has that postmark for today. Today is the deadline. Not the 16th, not tomorrow, today. You want to avoid penalties and you want to stay in compliance, especially for now, as governments start to become a little more desperate down the road. Yeah, so here we have a rehash of yesterday's show. Of course, we talked to you about Asahi Refining, okay, and here's one of their bars, of course, which is the replacement for the Johnson Matthey 1 ounce serialized bars, and they have 10 ounce too. But as you can see, they're very similar in their makeup. And so it is obvious that Asahi has taken over Johnson Matthey, as we talked about last night, back in March of 2015. So design cues are similar. They're both very nice 1 ounce serialized bars if you can get them. Grab either one because they're pretty much coming from the same family. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, guys. So what happened last night? Markets today. Markets today right now. Stock futures look like they're going to head for at least the stratosphere, if not the ionosphere. On news that the group we talked about yesterday, the pharmaceutical research group Moderna, is now saying that they have a vaccine that produces antibodies for COVID-19. It's not just they broke some ground or they had some new data come out, but they've actually produced antibodies in the human trials, in all the test patients that they had during their human trials here going on into the research for the COVID-19 vaccine. And of course, look, this is good news. I'm pie in the sky. You know me, irrational exuberance. So I hope there's really something to this because I'm over it. Okay, I'm over us having to deal with this. Now, it does bring some economic reality to the stress or the ultimate stress test for the financial system. But I would like for us to get back to our regular routine. I wouldn't necessarily want the governments and central banks to get back to theirs, but that's going to come down anyway. That's going to end at some point anyway, but that would give us more time to stack for sure. So we'll see. We'll see if this is actually some real, real solid news, or if this is another red herring like we saw at the end of May into June, where Moderna had also come out at that time and said that they'd had some really, really big breakthroughs, which they hadn't. They just started human trials, but the stock markets took it as we were in the clear and started soaring again. So we're back on track with that. We'll see how much meat there is to this story and how much progress has actually been made and how close we are to real vaccinations, a real cure for COVID-19. A lot of scientific skeptics are saying that we are still months away. So maybe this is just a milestone. Okay. But as long as it's a milestone in the right direction, I'm happy with that. So we'll see how that goes. Right now, stock futures are up about across the board about 1.5%. So Russell 2K small caps are up well over 2%. It's a smaller index, so that's easy to understand. But the Dow is at about 1.6%, and then of course Nasdaq is trailing at about 0.8%, and then the S&P 500 is trailing behind that at about 0.6%. But they're all going to climb today if this news stays consistent. So we'll go ahead and we'll keep an eye on that. Precious metals today. Precious metals today, they really didn't have a lot of activity last night. They're still recovering from the hangover we had yesterday. And it looks like they're going to hold fast in the positions they're in. I think gold right now is about 1806 and silver's at about $19.70 spot price. And so, those lines are very good lines to hold. We can go ahead and consolidate there for weeks if we have to. Or if we're going to go ahead and take that dip, let's go ahead and take that dip. But for now, in order to make sure that our metals are healthy, we want to go ahead and maintain those lines, maintain those resistance points, and show the equities markets and the central banks and governments that we mean business and that stacking is here to stay. All right, so we'll go ahead and see what kind of deals we can get out there today. Keep a lookout. I got a line on some tigers, so I bought some tigers yesterday. Heard about a lot of good stacking you guys have been doing and whatnot, and so that's just how we live. This is real time. This is us. This is what we do. So Anyway, I wanted to tell you about something that happened while you were sleeping. Now, I was watching this yesterday just to see, what kind of momentum we had. But the USD, or the US dollar, the United States dollar index, or better known as the DAXY or DXY, actually pierced below the 95 handle on the basis point chart. So there's a basis point system, of course, I was telling you guys before, where the dollar runs, level at about 1.0, yeah, 100.0. Okay. And you figure back in March when we had that big dip in silver, the DAXY, or the dollar index, had gotten above 103.0. Okay, and which is a very big move for the dollar. That means that everything valued in dollars, priced in dollars, is a lot weaker, and so it takes fewer dollars to buy those things, which means they're valued less in dollars, like silver was at 1177. But that was back 3 months ago, and in just 90 days, the dollar index has lost 8 basis points. 8, that's a lot. And so it's not necessarily the amount that it's lost, it's actually the pace in which it's losing it. Okay, it's like the pace in which we're gaining debt. All that stuff is fluid, it changes, but it seems to be increasing in severity and speed as we go down the road. So that right there is a huge indicator to watch for you guys that don't watch the Forex market or currencies. That is something you might want to keep in mind. And that's something I hadn't talked much about because they're actually very boring indexes. Currencies don't move around a lot. But when you see an 8 basis point move in 3 months, that is an indication of something serious underneath the hood. So we'll keep an eye on that too. We started to get down into 94, 93. I remember back in 2000, I think it was 2016, when the dollar index got down to a 79 handle, which is way down there. And of course, back earlier on, I think in the 80s, it had gotten into the 60s. So, these are the things we want to see happen when we want metals prices to go ahead and take off. That's going to be one of the major indicators of a breakdown in the currency system, and at that point, gold and silver will be acting directly as competing currencies with the dollar. No questions asked, down into the 70s and 60s on the dollar index. All right, that happened while you were sleeping. Okay, let's see. Let's go out and look for the deals today. Post them down in the comments below. That's going to be great. I don't have any money left for the month, but as we get into next month, I'll go back and see if I can catch some of these earlier deals. I seem to have missed out on the Sin Radis rounds from the Comsco Mint, but they should be coming back around again. And I've heard from good sources that they're very beautiful rounds, and I'm going to go ahead and keep an eye out for those. And there'll be some other ones too, and I'm going to be interested in, like those buffaloes I showed you on the Asahi Refining website. Okay, so tonight we are going to address a question by a subscriber, and I hope the subscriber doesn't mind. But basically, the subscriber wanted to know what I thought the future of transacting and trading and functioning with commerce, whether it be local commerce or global commerce, what it would be like when precious metals revalue to a more fair price. Say for instance, silver $300 and gold, $11,000. This sort of thing. What will commerce and trade and just daily economic activity look like for us? So I'm going to go ahead and mold that. I'm going to put together something that we can kind of enjoy and share, and of course, going to have a song with that. But let's have a discussion about that tonight after the show to see what we think it's going to look like. I think a lot of it's going to be bear out in the gray market. I think we're going to see a lot of gray market activity. I'll explain that tonight. And but it's just going to be something like we watch with shopping, we watch with precious metals, all that stuff. We will be ahead of the game, and we'll take advantage of it. All right, guys. So that is going to do it for this morning. I'm headed off to work, but I would like to ask you to share, subscribe, and comment today. All right, give me that thumbs up. The thumbs up apparently is the thing these days. And so I appreciate those. And if you can be the first one to comment on this video, Silver Game of Thrones, that's always fun to watch too. So go on, get out there, take on the day, do your best, get that fiat capital, convert as much as you can into real money, do your cellular immunity, and prepare for the future. Because like Silver Joker says, the future is still on its way. You can tell in the news cycles and the news stories. Watch what happens with Moderna today. Ought to be very interesting. If I see the stock market put on 1,000 points, I'm going to be like, okay, maybe there's something to it. All right, guys, we'll see you tonight. Take care.